guys, welcome to this week's episode of A Drummer's Guide to. I'm speaking today about the mental state that I have to be in when I'm touring, the ways that I deal with touring mentally, what it feels like, because from the outside it may seem like one thing, but actually when you're in it, it's actually a little more odd than you'd think. And I share some of the coping mechanisms that I use, that I have used in the past, and I hope that if you're going away on tour or have any sort of similar experiences, that this will help you in some way. Enjoy it, and I will see you on the other side. Today I want to discuss more about going on tour. So I've done a video already about tour bus touring and what you should kind of expect. This is more about how to survive the mental side of touring practically, basically. Because although touring is great fun, it's amazing, you get to see so many amazing places, play some great venues. If you're with good people, then you can have a lot of fun. But the reality of it is that there are still difficult times, and it's not something that a lot of people really talk about, because obviously as musicians that do tour, we're so lucky to do what we do, and I definitely consider myself incredibly lucky. But it doesn't mean that it's all sweet and roses all the time, and it's very hard to reach out to people who don't maybe understand what touring life is like, because they assume it's all parties and fun, and there are elements of that, but then there's a lot of sort of tiredness and exhaustion and feeling emotional and maybe homesickness, or physical sort of like exhaustion, mental exhaustion. Anyway, these are the ways that I've picked up over the years that kind of minimize that, or it's just a way of dealing with that sort of stuff. So I just want to go through a few of my coping mechanisms at the risk of sounding kind of like, really, distraught. So the first thing that I'll talk about is the mental frame of mind that you need to be in, and how to keep yourself mentally sane on tours, because when you are on tour, it does become a bit of a strange sort of almost like a bubble, a very insular world, where it's hard to see anything on the outside. You're told every day where to go by your tour manager, what time you need to be on stage. You become very reliant on other people doing stuff that if you were at home you would just sort of do for yourself, and it gets you into this very strange mindset. And there are different ways that people deal with that. Some people absolutely love it. I remember hearing a story about, I think it's Bono. Whenever he goes on tour, apparently, when a tour finishes, his family make him stay in a hotel for like a week or two to basically reintegrate himself to society. And I kind of understand that in a weird way, because you get home and you go, oh my gosh, so I need to do stuff for myself now, and where do I need to be, and what do I need to do? So there can be an adjustment period, and if you live with other people, you can be a right pain in the backside. So let me go through these things that I want to talk about. So the first thing is that when you're on a tour, for me at least, the thing that I always want to keep at the forefront of my mind, although things can be fun and you can be offered opportunities to do really fun things, the thing that is always at the front of my mind is I am doing a job. I need to do a good job, and I need to make my decisions based on that. So what I mean by that is, for instance, I was touring in Austria, and we got the chance to go snowboarding. And although that's amazing and wonderful, I couldn't do it, because imagine if I had, broken my leg, or even if I just twisted my ankle or my wrist or something, that's like the gig over for me. Like, I can't play and I can't do my job, and at the end of the day, that's why I'm being paid to be there. So that should be, for me, that is always the thing that is at the front of my mind, and the decisions that I'll make. If we have, say, a day off, even if I might go and do something, but I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the next day, the gig the next day. That includes drinking to excess, but that's just my personal thing, because like I am a lightweight. I'm not going to lie, I am a lightweight, and yeah, I might have a couple of drinks, but I'm certainly not going to be getting absolutely smashed on the bus and being an idiot, basically. When it comes to the mental side of things as well, it's good to be in the right headspace for tours. It's different for each tour. I will tell you about a very specific example, which is definitely an extreme, but it helped me survive a year's worth of touring with a particular artist, a really great artist. And this artist was, I'm not going to name who they are, by the way, just so you know, so, and don't ask me, I ain't going to do it. This artist was incredible, like probably one of my favourite to play with, but their way of dealing with stressful situations and situations they felt they were out of control of was by manipulation. And I totally understand where they were coming from, because it's how they grew up and it's how they survived and it's how they got to where they are. And you kind of have to go, well, that's fair enough. Like, you're very successful, and why would you change that if that's all that you know and that's what's got you to where you are? Now, I'm not here to change anyone. I'm here to do a job. And in order to do that, but also keep my sanity, and, you know, I noticed this sort of manipulation thing, and it's only because I'd had experiences in the past of that I recognized it. So I was very lucky in that respect. I thought, okay, I need to get into a mindset so that when they try and do that to me, it won't affect me. So what I did was, and like I said, this is a bit extreme, but it works. Every morning on any of the tours that we did, I would wake up and just say to myself, they hate me, they hate me, they hate me. And that made me be able to just disconnect myself. So even if they tried to be mean to me, to try and control me, or mean to someone else, or conversely, sometimes they would be incredibly kind. Other times, like really kind and generous. And then other times, you know, they would say to me, you're my favourite drummer I've ever played with. I swear on my grandma's life, you're the best drummer in the world that I've ever played with. And I would nod and I would say thank you, and I'd be incredibly, you know, grateful, which I genuinely was, because it was an incredible compliment coming from this artist. But then I would still go back to, they hate me, they hate me, they hate me. And I'd just start from ground zero every day. And that way nothing was ever kind of a shock. I was never disappointed. I was never affected. I was able to keep an even keel on where I was at and just concentrate on doing the job. Now, obviously, it's not like that with every artist. It certainly hasn't been. But when you recognise that someone is treating you a certain way to get control they need to, then you definitely need to protect yourself. And that was just my way of protecting myself. Maybe it wasn't the best way, but it definitely got me through like a good year's worth of touring with them. And it was tough. There were some really tough moments. But do you know what? If I could do it all again, I certainly would. There's some, like I say, one of my favourite artists to play for, some of my favourite shows I've ever done. And yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. So yeah, that's my extreme version of the mental side of things, and a way that you can navigate that and a way that you can survive it, really. And yeah, it worked for me. I think that's the most extreme headspace I've had to be in to survive a tour, but it's certainly good to know that I can survive a tour like that when it comes down to it. Yeah, so that's, I'd say, the mental side. Then you've got the next side, which is the emotional side of things, and this can get pretty tough because obviously you're away from family and friends, sometimes for extended periods of time. You can also be in completely different time zones, which can make for a number of nightmarish problems if, you know, you're trying to maintain a relationship, for instance. I used to do Skype dates, so once a week I would arrange I would be having dinner and they would be having lunch, or me breakfast and then dinner or whatever, And that was a really good way of sort of keeping up with each other and just having those moments to talk about nothing, basically. Just chat rubbish, not talk about the tour, not talk about what they were up to in terms of work, but just, we would even sometimes Skype and watch a film together. That was really fun. So there are things that you can do on that side of stuff to level you out. It's quite an obvious thing, I suppose, sort of Skyping with family and friends. Another thing that I like to do to get myself emotionally back together if I'm kind of feeling a bit vulnerable is I will go for a long walk, which I do whether I'm on tour, whether I'm not. Long walks are like one of the best things I can ever do for myself. It gives me space to think, and I find it quite inspiring. Just generally travelling I find quite inspiring, so I might go for a long drive maybe. And in fact, long drives to gigs are some of my favourite times and my most inspiring, and I think of lots of sort of interesting things to do. And anyway, I like walks, I like drives. To couple with that is another good thing to do is listen to music, obviously. I mean, sometimes it's a bit of a funny one, listening to music, because when you're on tour or when you're doing music for a living and you're doing music 24/7, sometimes you just don't want to listen to music. But if you want to get emotionally sort of back to centre or whatever, I find a good thing to listen to is maybe like music from your childhood, or maybe just maybe an album that reminds you of a really happy time. So for me, that whenever I'm feeling a bit wobbly, I'll always listen to Radiohead, which sometimes gets me a bit depressed, but that's fine. So I'll listen to Radiohead because that's what I sort of grew up listening to, or maybe Incubus, or what else do I like? Oh, the band, Neil Young. Like, it's just stuff like that. It's all very sort of somber stuff, and it just, like I say, it just centers me, and it probably makes me cry a lot of the time, but sometimes that's just what you need. I know a few other people that I tour with who love listening to classical music, and of course, like I was saying, if you can't face listening to music, which I know it probably sounds crazy because it's what we do for a living, and I love music, I love it, but sometimes you just can't face it. Podcasts and stuff like that are great to listen to, or audiobooks. That's what I do. I'll just, if I'm not feeling like music is the thing to sort me out, I'll go listen to a podcast, and it'll be about something completely random, but there's something really comforting about listening to a voice just talk about something maybe completely removed from what you're doing. So yeah, that's kind of my way of dealing with that. Another way of dealing with emotional stuff is something that is perfect for the next thing that is good to balance, and that is the physical side of touring. And although this may not come as a surprise, and it also may not be wanted as a solution to sorting out the physical side of stuff, it is maybe not necessary, it's up to you, but I've found it really helps, and you know exactly what I'm going to say, and I'm sorry that I'm saying it because I wish that I didn't, but it's true, it's amazing, and that is working out. This is something that I've only done probably in the last 2 years on the road, and I can't tell you the difference that it has made to my whole touring state. To have a routine to your day where you know that, okay, I mean, it's been different on different tours, but say, okay, I'm going to get up, I'm going to work out, then I'm going to go and have breakfast, and then I'm going to do a bit of work, have some lunch, and then we'll do sound check, and then you take your day from there. That is invaluable, because it's the one thing that is so difficult on the road, is having any sort of set routine, because you're in a different place every day, you have different schedules every day, and if you can have like one thing that you do every day that centres you, and again, you can couple it with, like I say, with listening to music or an audiobook which will double centre you, then that's really great. I've been doing this sort of bodyweight kinesthetic exercises on the road for the last couple of years, and Johnny Atkinson, the other drummer for Kim Wilde and Howard Jones, introduced me to it, and since we've been touring together, we do it literally every day on the road. And if one of us is feeling a little bit like, oh god, I don't really fancy it, the other one will be like, no, come on, let's just go do it. And that's an amazing thing, because we both agree that every time, without a doubt, every day we feel better for it. on the gigs we have more energy, which sounds completely the reverse of how you'd feel. But when we haven't worked out, we feel awful on the gig and very sluggish. Another bonus about that is that you get to eat more food, which is always a good option in life, just generally. Anything that can let you eat more delicious food is a good thing in my books. So if you've got a catered tour and, you know, there's a big pile of donuts sitting there, at least you don't feel as guilty picking one of them up, because you know that you've done a hell of a workout earlier on in the day, as opposed to just eating your body weight in them and just sitting there going, oh, I'm really tired, but then not working out, not doing anything to combat it. So yes, it's annoying, and some days you really don't want to, but I tell you what, if you want to keep a good headspace, exercise is an amazing thing. So yeah, so I think that those are my 3 sort of key ways that I keep myself sane. Although now that I'm saying this stuff out loud, it actually sounds quite insane, but it's fine. It works for me. I think it's about finding things that work for you, and they might be a bit strange. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, then you just go for your life. Go for your life. I'm sure it'll be fine. Anyway, I hope that this has helped, and if you are on the road, hi. Hope you're having a nice time. Hope you're not too knackered. Hope you're eating well. Oh, eat well. That's another one in the physical side of stuff. Try and eat well. Obviously have a donut, but stick to the more sort of like whole foodie type stuff. So as little processed stuff as you can, because it all adds up. And when you get off the road, if you're getting off the road craving a salad, maybe you should have eaten a bit more salad throughout the tour. I've had plenty of tours like that where I just come off the road and it takes me a good couple of weeks just to get over the kind of the lifestyle I've been indulging in. Once in a while, fine, don't do it for a whole tour. It's too easy to get fat. It's so easy and it's so enjoyable, but yeah, self-control is a difficult thing. Oh, especially when it comes to food. Oh, I love it. Anyway, I shall leave you alone. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I shall see you again for another one of these soon. Alright, bye! Hope you enjoyed that episode, and I hope it also gave you some insight into not just touring and the mental side of it, but also to my brain, including my love of food, which everybody should love something as much as I love food, for sure. Otherwise, life isn't worth living. Anyway, yes, as I always say, if you do have any subjects, questions that you'd like me to answer, please drop me an email at info@adrummersguide2.com. Also, please come and follow me on all the social media stuff. If you just look up @Emily Drums on pretty much anything, I should be there. So, and once I'm in your life, I ain't never getting out, I'm afraid. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day, and I'll look forward to seeing you here next week for another episode. All right, see you later. Lots of love. Bye.